Hey guys, Fix It Out here. If you saw my last video, you know I was talking about getting a project vehicle. Here she is. She is a 2002 Ford Mustang. She originally started life with a 3.8 liter V6 that put out 193 horsepower and 250-ish foot-pounds of torque, maybe a little less than that, and a Tremec T5 5-speed manual. Now, as you can see, those are not in it anymore, because when I bought this car, the guy that I bought it off of him had pulled them out because he was actually planning on putting a Coyote in this car. Now, while that is a really cool swap, it is also super expensive. I am not doing that. I do not have that kind of money. Hell, I barely have enough money to do what I want to do with this car, which is put 351 Windsor small block Ford in this car. It's a pretty straightforward swap. Pretty much everything will bolt right in. Obviously there's going to be some wiring and stuff like that, some plumbing. Basically, the 94 and 95 Mustang GTs came factory with a 5-liter V8, or a 302 small block Ford, if you will. Which means you can buy K-members, either from a stock 94-95 Mustang GT, or a aftermarket tubular K-member, that will bolt into these cars and make a small block Ford literally bolt right in. Also, I have heard guys using the stock 3.8, 4.6 liter K-member that I guess does work. It just makes the engine sit up a little higher. I'm not doing that. I am going to be ordering an AJE, I believe is the brand, tubular K-member, and then doing it that way. But basically, you can see I already have the factory K-member out. It is not in my garage. It is in the scrap metal bin at my work, because I don't need it. I'm sorry, I forgot to record tearing the whole front end apart. I will try not to miss anything from henceforth. So this video is basically going to be going over the car, how I got it, how much I paid for it, blah, 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 what I've done to it so far, which is the big thing. I got this car off Facebook Marketplace for $1,000. Now, like I said, when I got it, it was a roller. It had the front clip on it still. It did not come with 2 wheels, so this top one and that top one over there I got from my local junkyard. Yeah, I'll post a picture now, I guess, in the video. You'll see it on your screen now, of what it looked like when I got it. Or a few pictures. But anyways, as I said, my plan is to put a small block Ford in this car. I want to do that because a few years ago I had a 2003 Mustang V6 5-speed, much like this car, but it was dark green. I'll put a picture on screen of it right now if I can find one. If not, then I just look dumb right now if I can't find a picture. And I also had a 1995 F-150 with a 351 in it. If you look back at my videos, you'll see that truck in those videos. I have a bunch of videos of exhaust clips and whatnot from it. I no longer have that truck, and I no longer have my old Mustang. I just have my 21 F-150, and now my project car. If you want to help name it, put some names in the comments. Maybe I'll pick one out for it from the comments. But my plan is I'm going to be doing a carbureted setup, and these cars do not have a factory return line for the fuel system. They are a returnless system. So basically, this hard line right here, this guy right here, is the pressure line from the tank. Comes out in the engine bay right there. My plan, and I've already done this, when I got the car, the fuel tank was out of the car. It's back in the car now. See, it's back in there now. So basically what I did was I took the factory EFI fuel pump. I took that out of the factory fuel pump bucket that sits down in the fuel tank, and just put a piece of 3/8 brake line, like metal brake line there, with a 90-degree bend on the end of it to replace the pump. And then I have it going through the factory fuel filter. Let's see if I can see it here. Right there. So the factory line goes through the factory fuel filter, and then it goes up to the front of the car. to where I showed you in the engine bay there. So my plan is I'm going to try, I don't know if this is going to work because I don't think Holley pumps like to pull fuel from this far, but I'm going to try mounting a Holley blue fuel pump somewhere in this vicinity with a regulator and go to the carb. Now if that doesn't work, I'm going to be putting the pump back by the tank. That's probably what I should be doing right from the start, but fuck it, I want to try it this way. Just for simplicity, then I don't have to mess with the factory fuel lines. I can just use it right up to this point. I know it's going to be hard on the pump, but I'm going to try it. And then cooling system, I'm going to try to use the stock V6 radiator. I got that with the car. I got a bunch of parts with the car, like accessories and whatnot. I'm going to use hoses from a 9495 GT because it goes from the engine up over the alternator to the to this upper port, and the lower one should fit as well. Accessories, I'm only going to be running a power steering pump and an alternator. This car is not going to have AC. However, I did cut the AC lines off so that I can still use the evap core if I want to try and figure out how to put AC in this car eventually. It does get pretty hot in the summer. It is currently like 32 degrees here right now. But yeah, that's basically the rundown. Let's go over what I've done to the car already away from the fuel system. Away from the fuel system, I have, clearly, there's no front suspension in the car, as you can see. There's no K-member, there's no brakes, there's no control arms. Steering rack is on the ground over there. So as I stated before, I'm putting a tubular AJE K-member in this car. I'm currently saving up to purchase that. This will be a slow process because I don't have a whole lot of money. So it's going to be a slow process, so don't expect videos super often about it. I'll try to do as many as I can on just little projects and stuff so I can go more in depth, but just bear with me. I would like to find a 351 Windsor from a 94 to 97 F-Series truck, so 94 to 96 F-150 or 94 to 97 250 350s, because in 1994 Ford put a hydraulic roller camshaft factory in the 351 Windsor trucks. The 302s had a factory roller from 92 and up. So yeah, I want to find a factory roller motor because that way I only have to buy one distributor. I won't have to buy another one or another distributor gear that'll work with a flat tappet, and then I'll have to change it for a roller once I do put a roller in it. But basically for now, I'm just basically putting a stock 351 in this car, and a stock T5 out of this car, or what would have been in this car, back in it. I do not have the engine or transmission out of this car. The previous owner pulled them out before I got it, and I would have gotten the transmission from him, but he actually sold it before I bought the car, which, oh well, stuff happens. But yeah, that's basically the rundown on this car. Future videos will be putting the suspension back together. Again, sorry I didn't video it coming apart. It was not fun. I had a few bolts that were seized. One for the steering rack that was bent somehow. Like, the steering rack has really long bolts, like they're probably 9 inches long, and it literally looked like a jump rope. It was bent, and I don't know how or why, because the K-member wasn't bent, which is what the steering rack bolts to. The steering rack is fine. Like, it makes no sense to me. And then obviously getting the engine, getting the transmission, putting those in the car, blah 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 blah. We'll get to those videos when it comes to that. But basically I'm going to be filming another video right away, which is restoring the headlights on it. As you can see, I'll give you a little sneak peek before and after. This video will probably come out right before I post this video. But yeah, so I'll talk more about that in that video. Anyways, have a look inside the car. I did hook a battery up to it. Everything electrical still works because the car obviously hasn't been on the road for a few years, because it hasn't had an engine in it for a few years. It has 146,000 kilometers on it. Yes, kilometers. I am in Canada, not miles. But this is actually a pretty well optioned V6, which is odd. As you can see, it's got the Mach 460 stereo, has an aftermarket deck in it that all still works. Leather seats, not heated or anything, but leather. More speakers for the Mach 60 stereo back here, if you can see them. And then it did have, come back up here, it did have ABS. That's where all these jumbled brake lines go to. And I do have the ABS that was in it, but it's all full of crud and stuff. So I haven't decided if I'm going to try and find a factory ABS unit and try and make it work, or if I'm just going to, LMR sells this little delete block kit that basically just connects all these lines together and makes it so that your brakes work without the ABS. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do that just because it's cheaper. And then plus it gives me more room in the engine bay here for like electric fans and shit. Yeah, that's basically the rundown. I hope that some of you can subscribe to my channel to see this project grow. Yeah, thanks for watching.